In the last class, we have discussed about bitwise operator, where we have learned about the different types of bitwise operator like bitwise AND, bitwise OR, and bitwise XOR. Okay. So in today's class, what we'll do is we'll be moving ahead with the next operator, that is the shift operator. So we'll be learning what exactly the shift operator is and how it is how it works, how it exactly works in shifting the binary digits. Okay, so yes, by the name itself we can understand that shift operator, what it does, it basically shifts the binary digits from the left hand side or from the right hand side. Okay, so let us try to understand that what exactly shift operator does. Okay, so whenever we talk about shift operator, the first classification that we have for shift operator is shift left. Okay, so in shift left, what we have is it basically what it does, it basically adds. Okay, it basically adds number of bits, that is zeros, in the AND of the particular binary digit. Okay, so we can understand this by this example. Okay, for example, I have a value equal to 10. I need to perform shift left. Okay, please try to understand that in shift left we generally use this symbol. Okay, which is basically pointing towards the left side, which is pointing towards the left side. Okay, so if I perform shift left, that's A. Okay, let's say 2. Okay, shift left 2. Okay, so what it will do, it will add two zeros at the end of the binary value of 10. It will add two zeros at the end of the binary value of 10. Okay, so the moment I execute the code, you can see that I get the value to be as 40. So why we're getting 40? So let us try to understand. If I have a decimal value 10 and if I convert it to binary value, that is if I convert it to binary value, I get the value to be as 1010. Okay, so now let's move over to our drawing board so that we can understand it perfectly. So for 10, the value is 10 and 10. For 10, the value is 1010. Okay, I hope it is clear. For 10, the value is 1010. Okay, so this is for 10. Now, if I add two more zeros at the end of 1010, then in that case, I will be getting the value as 101000. I get the value to be as 1010 and 100. So if I convert this decimal value, that is 101000, you can see the answer is as follows. 101000. Okay, so the answer that we get is 40. So it means that if we have the binary value of a particular number and if we perform shift left operation by giving a particular number, like how many digits we want to add. So in this case, I have passed the value to be as 2. So it will add two zeros at the end of the binary value. Okay, so if I pass 3, so what it will do is it will add three zeros at the end of the binary values. Okay, so shift left will add n number of zeros as per as the supplied input. Okay, so if you are performing shift left 2, it will add two zeros. If you're performing shift left 3, it will add three zeros. Okay, but yes, on which number? On the number that you're passing. Okay, so the proper syntax to use the shift left is, first you need to write the number followed by the shift left operator. Okay, then the number of digits you want to add or the number of zeros that you want to add. In this case, I have put 2, so it will add 2 zeros. If I put 3, you can see that there is a significant change in the output. We get 80 as the output because yes, obviously, if you convert this with 3 zeros, then this will be the binary value for 80. Okay, so this will be the binary value for 80. If the concept of shift left is clear, please type left in the chat box. If the concept of shift left is clear, please type left in the chat box. In case if it is not clear, you can ask any queries from this. So yes, once again, let me tell you that shift left will add zeros in the left side of the binary digits. Okay, it will add zeros in the left side. Okay, so what exactly shift right will do? Obviously, if you are using this for shift left, then for shift right we'll be using this. Okay, so it will remove the number of binary digits from the right hand side. Okay, it will remove the number of binary digits from the right hand side. So if I pass, let's say 1, okay, so yes, for 10 we know the conversion of 10 is 1010, right? The conversion of 10 is 1010. This is the conversion of 10. Okay, so if I perform shift right, then in the first case, if I give the value to be as 1 over here, then it will remove one digit. Okay, it will remove one digit, so the output that we get is 101. Okay, so let us execute the code and see, and we get the value to be as 5. So if we convert 101 over here, 101, you see the value is 5. So if I pass 2 over here, what it will do, it will remove 2 digits. Okay, 2 digits, and we are left out with only 10. We are left out with only 10. So if we convert 10 in binary, we get the output to be as 2. Okay, so yes, let us execute the code and see. Yes, we are getting 2. Okay, so shift right will remove the digits from the right hand side. Okay, so it will remove the digits from the right hand side. Depends upon the number of digits you want to remove. Okay, so that you will be passing as a value. Okay, so in the in the left hand side you will be passing the exact digit, and in the right hand side you will be passing the number of digits that you want to remove. This goes same for this shift left. Here we will be passing the exact digit or the original digit, and yes, and here you will be passing the digits on the basis of which the number of zeros will be added. Okay, so if it is clear, if shift left and shift right is clear, please type Y in the chat box. In case
Excuse
you
me, sir.
yes, please.
So if we enter any value, sir, which is greater than the binary numbers that are present in that number, sir, then what kind of outcome will we get?
For every decimal value, we have a binary value. Okay, there is no value as of now that we can say that this is greater than the binary digit. Okay.
No, sir, sir. My question was like, sir, the binary digit of 10 is, sir, 1010. And
Okay.
sir, if we put that A shift right, sir, and then we enter the digit
Okay.
5,
Okay.
sir,
Okay.
so
Okay. Okay.
5.
Okay. Then in that case, you will be getting 0.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
In that case, you will be getting 0. I got it. So, for example, if you put over here, let's say 8. Okay, let's say give 10. Okay. You just execute it, you will be getting 0. Okay, great. Okay, so that's it for the shift operators. Now let us move ahead to the next category of operator, which comes under the category of binary operator. Obviously, that is the identity operator. Okay, so identity operator will basically help you to set the identity of a particular or get the identity of a particular value. Okay, so it will basically help you to check whether the identities are same or not. So in case if you want to understand the identity, in that case, what we will be doing is you will be using the identity operator. So let us try to understand this with an instance. Okay. For example, I have a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. We know that yes, by just by the physical appearance, we can see that both the values are not same. The first variable a is storing the value 10. The second variable b is storing the value 20. So if I perform, let's say print a is b, so yes, it will return false. Okay. So yes, if you talk about identity operator can be classified into two types. One is yes, one is, and one is not. One is and one is not. Okay. So if I say a is b, so it will return false. That means a is not b. Okay. So if I say, or if I ask the interpreter that a is b, it will check and it will tell that a is not b, and it will return false. Generally, in general, identity operator, what they do is they return boolean values. Okay, that is either true or false. Apart from this, it won't return anything. So if a is b, then it will return true. If a is not b, it will return false. What if I use a is not b? So yes, a is not b. So in this case, it will return true because a is not b. Okay, but what if we have the same values, and if I write a is not b, in this case it will return false because a is b here. So the moment I remove not and execute the code, you can see that in the case of output, I'm getting the value to be as true. Okay, it means that identity operator can be classified into two types. The first one is, the second one is not. And if we talk about identity operator more, then in that case we can say that identity operator will basically return the boolean values. That means if the identities are same, in that case it will return true. If the identities are not same, okay, in that case it will return false if we use the is operator. And if we use the is not operator, if the identities are not same, in that case it will return true, okay. But in case if the identities are same and we are using is not, in that case it will return false, okay. So that's it for identity operator, and yes, we don't have anything else apart from this in identity operator. Okay, so let's move ahead to the next operator that we have is relational operator. So relational operator will help us to establish the relationship between two operands, two or more operands, okay. So the relational operator will help us to establish the relationship between two or more operands. So how it exactly works, okay. So you can see there are multiple relation operators: greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, and not equal to. For example, here we have a value a equal to b, and sorry, a equal to 10 and b equal to 10. So if I write a is greater than b, is it true or false? Please respond in the chat box. A is greater than b. What do you think, students? Is it true? If it is true, please type T. If it is false, please type F. Hurry up, students. How many of you think that A is greater than B? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 responses. 2 more students are left. 1 student is left. Who is that student who has not responded yet? Okay, 7 responses. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, great. Okay. Yes, we'll be getting the value to be as false because A is not greater than B over here. We can see this example because the value are same. Okay, so the moment I execute the code, I get the value to be as false. It means what? It means that relational operators also return Boolean values. It means that relational operator will also return Boolean values. That means after checking, if the condition satisfies, it will return true, and if the condition doesn't satisfy, in that case, it will return false. So what if I need to check, if I need to say that both the values are equal? Remember that if we are comparing the equality, remember in capital letters, okay, please focus on it, okay. Whenever we are comparing relational operators or whenever we are comparing values with the help of relational operator, don't use a single equal to. Don't use a single equal to, okay. Single equal to means that we are basically assigning the value. We are assigning the value of the right side object to the left side object. So if I do this, a equal to b, it means that I'm assigning the value of the variable b to a. I'm assigning the value of the variable b to a. This is not comparison. So if I need to do the comparison and check both the values are equal or not, in that case I will be using two equal to's. In that case, I will be using two equal to's, where it will do where it will make the comparison and will return the exact Boolean value for this. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to get true or false if I perform a equal to b. Students, what do you think? In this case, what I will get? True or false? So how many are with true and how many are with false? Okay, I have Vishal Sekia who is with true. Anyone else? Please, students, hurry up. Those who think false, please type F. Yeah, the correct answer is true because both the values are equal. I hope the equal to is clear now. Okay. So yes, one is the greater than symbol, one is the less than symbol. Okay. So let's say if I give b equal to 5. So here b is not greater than a, so it will return false. But what if I make the value of b greater? So in this case, I'm getting the value to be as true. Okay. So yes, this is all about greater than, less than, and equal to. Now let us try to understand less than equal to, greater than equal to. So if I put let's say greater than equal, in this case also I will be getting the value to be as true. And if I put 10 over here, so in this case also I will be getting the value to be as true because it is not, if it is not greater than, but it is equal to. So yes, so I'm getting the value to be as true. Similarly, we can have less than equal to. Okay, Yes, b is less than equal to a. If we execute, the answer is true. Okay, so I hope you have understood the different types of relational operators which we have: greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, equal to, equal to. And the last, the next one that we have, or the last one that we are left out with, is not equal to. In case of not equal to, what you need to give is, you need to give, or you need to use the exclamation mark, okay, with equal to symbol. The exclamation mark with equal to symbol. So in this case, you can see that in case of greater than or less than symbol, what I will do is I will simply remove it and I will simply put the exclamation mark. It means that it is not equal to. It means that it is not equal to. Okay. So if I write a not equal to b, so it will be returning false because both of them are equal to. So what if I change the value to 20? In this case, I will be getting the value to be as true. Okay. The reason why we are getting the value to be as true is because both the values are not equal to. So that's why we are getting a not equal to b as true. Okay. So this was all about a relational operator, shift operator, and identity operator. Okay. So if all the three operators are clear, please type SIR in the chat box. Please type SIR in the chat box if all the three operators are clear. Not FIR, SIR. Okay, great. Okay, so that's it for relational operator. Now let us move ahead to the next operator that we have is the assignment operator. Okay, so what exactly assignment means? Generally in English, we know that assignment is basically assigning some sort of task. Okay, assigning some sort of task. Okay, similarly here we don't have any task, but yes, here we have values, and those values needs to be assigned to a particular variable, to a particular object, okay, to a particular function. Okay, similarly we basically assign the values to some sort of objects, okay, in Python with the help of this symbols, with the help of this symbols that you see over here. So if we are assigning a value, let's say 20 to b, we'll be using the single equal to. We'll be using the single equal to. Okay, got it? So single equal to means that we are using the assignment. We are using the assignment operator. If we perform, let's say b equal to a plus 20. Okay, so what we are doing is we are incrementing the value of a with 20. Okay, so yes, in this portion we are incrementing. As I said, the assignment is done in such a way that the left hand side value goes to the the right hand side value goes to the left hand side variable or the left hand side object. The right hand side value goes to the left hand side value, okay, or the left hand side variable that we have. Okay, so if we print the value of b, so here you can see that the value of b got changed to 30. So the reason why it got changed, because we are incrementing, then we are assigning it to b. Okay, similarly the same task, let's say I need to increment the value of a with 20. Okay, so there are two ways to increment the value of a with 20. So the first one is a equal to a plus 20. Okay, so I can print it a equal to a plus 20. That means I am reassigning the value of a after adding it with the existing value of a. So first this step will be done, like 10 will be added with 20. After getting the result, the new value will be assigned to the value of a. The new value will be assigned to the variable a. So the moment we execute the code, we get the value to be as 30. Okay, so the same thing can be written in this way also. Okay, the same thing can be written in this way also. Okay. So in this step, you see that I'm incrementing the value of a with 20, and the next step I'm incrementing the value of a with 20 once again. So what is the final result that I will get over here? That means in line number 4, what is the output that I will get? So let me execute the code. The correct answer is 50. Okay, so why we are getting 50 is because, first of all, please look over here. So here what we are doing is we are adding the value of 10 with 20 and we are storing it in a. So in memory we have the value of a to be as 30. In the next step, once again, a plus equal to 20 means a is equal to a plus 20. So it basically means that a equal to a plus 20. Okay, it basically means that a equal to a plus 20. Okay, please try to understand. It basically means that a equal to a plus 20. Both of them, if you write it in this way or if you write it in this way, it is not going to create any change. Okay, you can write it in both the ways. Okay, So yes, so the moment I use a equal to a plus 20 or a plus equal to 20, what it is going to do is it is going to use the existing value of a, that is 30, and it is going to add 20 with it and assign it to the value a once again. So the final output that I'm getting is 50. Okay. If it is clear, please type Y in the chat box. If it is clear, please type Y in the chat box. Students, please hurry up. If this concept is clear, please type Y in the chat box. Similarly, this was all about addition. We can do subtraction, multiplication, floor division. Okay. Also, we can perform the exponential. We can calculate the exponential values. We can also find the product. Okay, depends upon us. Okay. For example, if I need to do the subtraction, okay, using the shortcut method. Okay, so a minus equal to, let's say, 2. Okay, so what it will do? It will subtract 10. It will subtract 2 from 10. Okay, so the output that we get is 5. Okay. Similarly, if you need to calculate the exponential value, let's say 10 to the power of 2, to get the value to base 100. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so this was all about assignment operator. There are various methods of assigning values. So I have explained all of them, like equal to, plus, equal to, all this basically works the same way, which I have shown. For floor division also, you will be using those 2 slashes. For multiplication, just this asterisk and the equal to. And for, yes, for the calculation of quotient, then in that case we will be using the forward slash equal to. For the calculation of remainder, you can use the modulus equal to. Okay, so this was all about assignment operator. Now let us move ahead to the next operator, that is membership operator. Regarding the logical operator, I will be explaining the logical operator in the next class. Okay, so let us move ahead to the membership operator. So membership, what it will do, it will check whether a particular value is a member of a particular data set or not. So if I ask whether Rishi Sekia is a member of the IP class, so the answer is yes. But if I say, let's say XYZ student is a member of this IP class, okay, because there is no student with XYZ name. So the answer is no. XYZ student doesn't belong to this IP class. Similarly, if I have a, let's say, if I have a list of values, okay, so what exactly lists are, we'll be trying to understand in the upcoming classes. But assume that we have n number of values. Okay, we have n number of values. So in this n number of values, do you think that we have value 55? Do we have 55 over here? The answer is no, we don't have 55. So if I perform, okay, 55 in A, 55 in A, so the answer that I'm going to get is false, because 55 is not in A. Okay, so this is one type of membership operator, that is in. But what if I type 55 not in A? The answer that I'm going to get is true. Okay, because 55 is not in A. But if I type 10 in A, the result that I'm going to get is true, because 10 is in A. Okay, so that's it for the membership operator. It is similar to what we have learned in identity operator, but identity operator has the capability to check individual values. And if we talk about membership operator, it can check in group of values. Okay, so in means whether it exists or not, and not in means that it doesn't exist. Okay, so that's it for the membership operator and the different type of operators that we have that we have discussed. In the next class, what we'll do is we'll be discussing about the logical operator, where we'll be discussing about the logical and logical or, which we will be using in the programs frequently. Okay, so that's it for today's class.